There really is nothing sweet about this part of the science. It is pure rage and fury aimed at one target, and 30-year-old WBA middleweight champion Daniel Jacobs cannot get enough of it.
Every time you hit something hard, it's a jolt of energy that you feel in your body. Get ready!
They call Jacobs the Miracle Man. Not because of his 32-1 record in the ring, but because of what he accomplished out of it. You see, Daniel Jacobs beat the toughest opponent of all, cancer.
If all goes according to plan, there will be a World Championship boxing match in New York City later this month that will add a chapter to one of the most improbable sports stories to come along in quite a while. Here is Maurice Dubois on assignment for 60 Minutes Sports.
They call Daniel Jacobs the Miracle Man, and if you think that's the usual hype for a rising boxing star, you'd probably be right. Except that Jacobs' story is a kind of miracle, which gives hope to everyone who might have thought the future they wanted was gone forever because of bad health or just simply bad luck. The story of this miracle man is much more comforting than cautionary, even in a sport not known for comforting anything. There really is nothing sweet about this part of the science. It is pure rage and fury aimed at one target, and 30-year-old WBA middleweight champion Daniel Jacobs cannot get enough of it.
Every time you hit something hard, it's a jolt of energy that you feel in your body. That's why people love knockouts. It looks good, feels good. It's what the fans want.
It's what he wanted too. His was a classic boxing story. Working-class kid from the tough Brownsville section of Brooklyn, New York, learns how to box after being bullied by an older kid. But he went on to win the Junior Olympics at 15.
Jacobs comes back with a couple of hooks of his own.
A crate of New York Golden Gloves.
From the blue corner, Daniel Jacobs.
And was moving up the pro ranks with a string of knockouts until he began to experience pain in his back and legs.
And I remember it was this one night, it was a Friday night, and I woke up that morning and I just fell out of bed. I just completely fell. And I was down there for about 5 minutes trying to crawl back in bed. No one was able to get to me or know of my situation.
Where's your cell phone at this point?
My cell phone was in my car downstairs. I had left my cell phone. I didn't even have a landline. So literally, I was up in my house dying, and no one knew of it. And miraculously, the biggest blessing came. My godmother, Dorothea Perry, she came and she knocked on the door. I said, oh my gosh, who is it? So I'm crawling, like commando style, right? Like army. Grabbed the door. I opened it. She just started bawling. She just started crying to see me there.
And I was blown away. He could barely stand up. He could barely walk. He had to hold on to the walls. You know, for him to go from one wall to the couch, it's almost like he had to fall to the couch. And I'm looking at him saying, Danny, this is not right.
And then they did an emergency MRI, and I had this huge tumor that was wrapped around my spine.
Just come over here. He had assumed the pain was just a pinched nerve, but Dr. Roger Hartle, director of spinal surgery and neurotrauma at New York Presbyterian Weill Cornell, saw the problem immediately on the MRI.
You can see that spinal cord is completely surrounded by tumor, and it's severely compressed.
It was a cancerous tumor located in an especially devilish place, a condition called osteosarcoma.
It was a fairly large tumor. It was probably the size of a walnut. I knew that if we were going to treat him with surgery, that he would have a good chance to go back and be able to walk. Is he going to be able to go back to his previous life activities? Or is he going to be handicapped for the rest of his life? I mean, that was really the question that I had, that was in my mind.
The operation on Daniel Jacobs took 6.5 hours to remove the tumor and rebuild parts of his spine. So fast forward here. He tells you, Doc, I'm going back to fighting.
Right.
What was your reaction?
From a medical standpoint, I think, I couldn't really allow him to go back.
I said, oh my God, I'm not going to be able to box again. As everyone talking, that's all I can think about. My career. I'm never going to be able to box again. How am I going to take care of myself? How am I going to take care of my family? How am I going to accomplish my dreams that I set out to when I was a kid?
After major surgery, with a reconstructed spine and with titanium rods in his back, would he ever return to the ring?
Doctor's order was, don't go back to the boxing gym. Stay away from boxing as far as possible, as much as possible. I'm thinking there's no way. The only thing that I know that brings me so much joy is being in the boxing gym. It's being around my stable, being around my peers. This is what my life has been for the past 10 years. And I remember the first day I came back to the boxing gym, I had this big back brace on. I had a cane with me. I still could barely walk. And, it was these steps that would lead you down to the actual boxing gym. And I'm going down the steps. People's like, it was so slow. These guys, I'm pretty sure the guys was like, who is this slow guy coming down the stairs?
I'm here, let's go.
Jacobs' longtime trainer, Andre Rozier, who has been with the boxer since he was 15, was shocked to hear that Jacobs was in the gym.
Time.
And he walked so slow. I mean, this was Dan. He was creeping into the gym. And I said, son, what are you doing here? He said, I came to work out. I said, oh, you did? He said, yeah, I came to work out. I said, okay, come on downstairs. So I stood in front of him and we walked down. And he went to the mirror and he put his hands up and he threw 4 punches. He said, I'm ready to hit the bag. So I said, okay. He wrapped up, we put gloves on him, and he hit the bag maybe 10 times. He said, okay, I'm good for today. I'll see you tomorrow. So we helped him back up the stairs, and lo and behold, he came back again. And he came back again. And he came back again.
It took 25 radiation treatments, and Jacobs is now considered cancer-free. And since he's already survived more than 5 years, the odds that his cancer will return are low. After his treatment ended, the Miracle Man had a blistering run of devastating knockouts.
He followed it up with a right hand. To the head.
Including a brutal first-round knockout of highly regarded Peter Quillen. But the real star was the love of Jacobs' life, his son Nathaniel, who was just a baby when Jacobs was fighting for his life. He was really sick. Did you know he couldn't walk for a little while?
I know.
What was that like?
I felt like that should have been me instead of him.
Really? Why?
Because I didn't want my daddy to be in pain.
You wanted to not be able to walk so he could walk?
Mm-hmm.
When Nathaniel is in the stands, he roots for his dad with the secret signal.
When I also wink at him, he knows to go harder.
Do you have a signal for him? Show me the signal. That means what?
Work harder. And when my right eye means work harder, my left eye means keep it going.
Really? So he knows what you're talking about during the fight?
Mm-hmm.
Get ready! We were there for Jacobs' last fight in September, in which he knocked veteran Sergio Mora almost clear out of the ring, bringing his record to 32-1. In fact, the only professional fight he's ever lost came just days after his grandmother, who had nurtured him, died. The funeral was the next day.
Yeah, oh man.
Feels like yesterday. Where was your head back then, and your heart?
My grandmother was my life. She was everything. She taught me how to become a man, the important values of a man. It was the worst place, the worst thing that I ever went through in my life.
But the win over Mora was just the tune-up for the fight he really wanted. A chance to challenge for the middleweight championship of the world against a man no one has beaten, a man they call Triple G. Don't you think Triple G's taking notes?
I mean, maybe he is, maybe he ain't. You know, I hope I impress the public. I don't care about what he thinks, but I hope I impress the public.
He impressed enough to seal the deal to fight Gennady Gennadyevich Golovkin, alias Triple G. One of the greatest fighters in the world. The 34-year-old from Kazakhstan, who now lives in California, has won all 36 of his professional fights, including 33 by knockout, the highest knockout percentage in middleweight boxing history.
Triple G is the best. He's the best. He can do everything well. He's tough mentally, so he's not going to make a mistake. The Nets lost, of course. We're used to that.
When Tony Page isn't railing against the ineptitude of the Knicks, the Nets, and the Jets,
What's going on with the Knicks?
he's the resident boxing guru on sports talk radio WFAN in New York. Though Triple G is currently listed as an 8-1 favorite, Page knows Daniel Jacobs won't be an easy takeout.
Jacobs is that he wants what he has, and he's just as good. He just can't make the mistake of, I think I can trade with this guy, or like, I'll take one of his shots to give one of mine like Joe Frazier would do. You take one of Triple G's shots, you're out.
Like everyone else, Page believes what Jacobs has done is remarkable.
Funny when you think about it. Okay, I want to fight where you can't fight. Okay, I want to walk where you can't walk. Well, I want to live, and I ain't too sure either. And he just battled back from that. So any opponent he faces is the second toughest opponent. He won't, you're bringing me Triple G, okay, what's the big deal? It ain't bringing me the big C. You're just bringing me Triple G.
As he puts it, I beat cancer. I could beat this guy.
Absolutely. I mean, Triple G is a heat-seeking missile who comes to knock you out. Cancer's a heat-seeking missile which is trying to kill you. And he outpointed cancer. So I think that, Triple G is not going to scare him at all.
As Jacobs trains, there is no sense of urgency or trepidation, and certainly no fear. Just a whole lot of love, especially from trainer Rozier.
There you go. Box.
Who stuck with Jacobs when others gave up on him.
I mean, you don't leave the people you love, especially in the worst periods of their lives. And this was a time when he needed everyone, but everyone wasn't there. But the people who were important were, so that's all that mattered.
Madison Square Garden, March 18th.
It's going to be clobbering time. We're getting ready. Daniel, the Miracle Man Jacobs, one of the sharpest, one of the quickest, one of the most hardest punching middleweights in the division, will be facing the boogeyman. But we don't fear the big boogeyman. We have big flashlights. He don't come out in the light. So many stories where, it's the boogeyman and David and Goliath. The doctors didn't believe I could come back to boxing, right? They told me that would never happen. People said I wouldn't become world champion. That happened, right? A lot of people said I wouldn't make it out of Brownsville. That happened, right? So what's different from that and this guy? Nothing.